The global gold supply right now is, as with the central banks, is basically as high as it was right before Nixon closed the gold window. It's as if these people in the know are preparing for a gold standard. Gold has now just outpaced the euro for the first time ever in terms of holdings and central bank holdings. And, so it's number three, dollars, gold, euros. And for the BIS, which is the most powerful bank on the planet, the central bank or central bank, to reclassify gold as the only other tier one asset in the world, and to see the central banks buy it and repatriate it, removing counterparty risk, the way that they are, I don't know if it's by the end of the year or later or sooner. I would just simply say, in a world of no guarantees and probabilities, the probability of gold outpacing people's expectations, to me, is extraordinary. It will go higher than anyone thinks possible.
Since 2009, robust gold buying by central banks and a rising gold price have significantly increased the precious metals share of global international reserves, diminishing the dominance of fiat currencies. By the end of 2023, gold surpassed the euro in international reserves, and the next target is the US dollar. AndySchectman, CEO of Miles Franklin, highlights that the Bank for International Settlements has reclassified gold as a Tier 1 asset, prompting central banks to repatriate and accumulate gold to minimize counterparty risk. This trend suggests a strong probability that gold prices will exceed current expectations. Spot gold is trading around $2,300 per ounce after hitting a record $2,449.89 on May 20th, gaining more than 11% this year. The rally shows signs of continuing in the second half of 2024, as the fundamental case for bullion remains strong, though $3,000 per ounce appears just out of reach, according to traders and industry experts. Schectman asserts that the value of commodities is increasingly seen as more substantial than the currencies used to purchase them. This shift aligns with Zoltan Pozsar's concept of Bretton Woods III, envisioning a system based on commodities rather than the opaque debt promises of economically troubled nations. Central banks, among the most well-informed market players, have been significantly increasing their gold reserves and repatriating gold from Western institutions. The Reserve Bank of India recently made a significant strategic move by repatriating over 100 tons of gold from the UK to its domestic vaults. This marks the most considerable repatriation since the early 1990s and signifies the RBI's evolving approach to managing its gold reserves. The People's Bank of China should have reported acquiring gold in May. However, this absence of reporting does not imply that the bank or the Chinese government did not acquire gold. It only indicates that the central bank did not officially report such acquisitions that month. Join us as we delve into AndySchectman's insights. To stay updated with our latest uploads, subscribe to our channel and activate notifications. Thank you.
I mean, the flow of gold from west to east, this transfer of wealth that I've been talking about for a long time now, is huge. And I think the underestimating of the significance of it is a problem. We're seeing so much gold and silver flow eastward. Just the other day, 3 Fridays ago, $500 million worth of gold was delivered to Brics, Hong Kong, which is a COMEX facility, by the way. And they're all in kilo bars, which is ironically what trades at the Shanghai Gold Exchange. It's as if they are draining our exchanges, having them sent over in exchange for physical to places like Brics, Hong Kong, and then trucked over to the Shanghai Gold Exchange. I think that when you talk about how high gold and silver will get, it will go higher than people think possible, because it's as if it's playing by a new set of rules. The price action, the resiliency is unlike anything I've seen. They hit it, it comes right back up. I think that the currency that buys these commodities it is not as valuable as the commodities themselves. This is Zoltan Pozsar saying Bretton Woods III. Bretton Woods I when we took over for the pound sterling, Bretton Woods II when we became the petrodollar, and that may be over right now. And Bretton Woods III, a system that will be all about commodity. And how high does it go? I don't know. Higher than anyone thinks possible would be my guess. And I don't know if it happens between now and the end of the year. But you can see, when you see the central banks, which are the most, not only the most well-funded, but the most well-informed traders in the world, buy at levels that we are seeing right now, it should tell you. When you see India take 100 metric tons back from the Bank of England, when you see Saudi Arabia and Egypt, who just joined Brics, bring all their gold back from the New York Fed, when you see the Bundesbank, the Bank of Austria, Hungary, Turkey, Poland, the Czech National Bank, they did the same thing too, brought all their gold back from the New York Fed and the Bank of England. When you see Turkey be one of the largest buyers of gold in the world and apply to Brics, These are all things that are happening, and there's no coincidence. In fact, the global gold supply right now is, as with the central banks, is basically as high as it was right before Nixon closed the gold window. It's as if these people in the know are preparing for a gold standard. Gold has now just outpaced the euro for the first time ever in terms of holdings and central bank holdings. And, so it's number three, dollars, gold, euros. What is gold? It's the only other tier one asset. And for the BIS, which is the most powerful bank on the planet, the central bank, to reclassify gold as the only other tier one asset in the world, and to see the central banks buy it and repatriate it, removing counterparty risk the way that they are, I don't know if it's by the end of the year or later or sooner. I would just simply say, in a world of no guarantees and probabilities, the probability of gold outpacing people's expectations, to me, is extraordinary. It will go higher than anyone thinks possible. And you take out the central bank manipulation that forever has been orchestrated on the COMEX and on the LBMA, where the LBMA right now trades almost 3 billion ounces of silver per day. That's 3.5 times global mine supply, where they're trading 200 million ounces of gold per day. That's not normal. And, they only have, I don't know how many ounces of gold. They only have 300 million ounces of silver, yet they're trading almost 3 billion. I'm not sure how many ounces of gold the LBMA has, but the point of it is the rehypothecation of all of these metals by the bullion banks in the West have created an environment where the price has been muted. And they didn't want the price to rise because they wanted everyone happy in Western currencies and investing in Western treasuries and Western assets that made the Western bankers wealthy. Well, the game is changing because now you have countries wealthy enough, coordinated enough, sophisticated enough to stand for delivery. And they're draining the exchanges using these make-believe prices. In years past, no one stood for delivery. It was just a way to hedge exposure or to gamble. Now they're standing for delivery. And standing for delivery means these naked contracts, this rehypothecation, is enough to put companies, banks, or hedge funds out of business like that. And so, yeah, it's different. When I say gold and silver are playing by a new set of rules, I mean that. And I think you will see this come to a head at some point. But how high does it go by the end of the year? I don't know.
With Brics expansion remaining a significant focus for the group, another new nation has formally applied to join the alliance. Among many nations showing interest, Thailand has emerged as a potential frontrunner with its official application submitted on Thursday. AndySchectman highlights that an increasing number of countries are planning to join Brics, with official estimates suggesting 59 nations are on board. This growing coalition of countries no longer relying on the dollar for trade represents a significant shift in the global economic landscape. In a related move, Brics member Russia is increasingly ditching the US dollar in favor of the Chinese yuan for trade, according to its central bank. Russia has been at the forefront of de-dollarization efforts within the bloc, taking significant steps to reduce its dependence on the US dollar. As the Brics Economic Alliance continues to pursue its de-dollarization agenda, more than $70 billion in trade will no longer be settled in US dollars. The bloc will implement a landmark trade agreement to decrease reliance on the greenback in unilateral trade. Let's get back to the interview.
Well, look, like I said, Jared Bernstein's thesis is to lose the world reserve status. That's first and foremost. And if you wanted to lose the world reserve status, you make a big deal about going green. You sign executive orders to do so, and then you weaponize the dollar, and not just weaponize it, but confiscate. And when I say confiscate, let's just call it what it is. It's stealing. And that's what they're doing. And you make the entire Southern Hemisphere say, my God, we're next, we're out. So much so that gold is now the second largest held in all global central bank reserves, exceeding the euro for the first time ever. And so the dollar and the euro are falling out of central bank reserves, and gold jumped to its highest level in 27 years at almost 18% reserves, if we believe the numbers that we hear. But look, this is a very, 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 very big deal. There was just a meeting, we talked about 200 meetings, Brics meetings leading up to the big one in October. There was just one in Novograd where 21,000 people attended from 139 nations. There were $80 billion nearly signed of bilateral deals signed on the sidelines. These are deals that are no longer using the dollar for settlement. You chip away at the dollar settlement. These countries selling treasuries and buying gold chips away at the reserve status. 59 nations, we are told, officially will plan to join the Brics. This is something very significant. It is encompassing the majority of human population, 3 of the 4 largest nuclear arsenals on the planet, the majority of global GDP. If indeed you have 50, 60 countries that want to do this, you now have mass. His theory is, regardless of the gold backing of the currency, which it may be. I mean, why else would gold be reclassified tier 1? Why are the central banks buying it the way they are? Using the suppression of the Western market to run cover for it, the paper price in essence. But he says, look, there's 10 countries right now, and if they sell with one another, even in a common settlement currency, those 10 countries are the only ones that will accept it. So how do you go shopping if you only have 9 other countries to choose from? Well, if you have 50 or 60 countries on board, now you have 50 or 60 countries that you can buy goods and services from. You have the majority of human population, of global GDP, of military might, all of the shipping lanes and the natural resources. They are doing this very methodically. They are thinking this out very seriously. They've also officially applied to Project Enbridge. And I know you've talked about that before. I've talked about it. It came out in 2021, and Project Enbridge is a very big deal. Project Enbridge is a joint central bank digital currency cross-border payment system that was developed by China, Hong Kong, Thailand, and the United Arab Emirates. And I've been saying for a while now that I think gold and oil have been remonetized completely and totally. They are being used as money, viewed as money, more important than the dollar bills that buy them. And the first 2 trades that they did in 2023, their test trades that China did with this, was the first one for oil and the second one for gold, using the digital yuan and cross-border payment. Well, now you have, as of June 5th, Saudi Arabia has joined a China-dominated central bank digital currency cross-border trial in what would be another step towards less of the world's oil trade being done in dollars. The move announced by the BIS on Wednesday will see Saudi Arabia's central bank become a full participant of Project Enbridge. And at the same time, you just got the Saudi crown prince turned down an invitation today to go to the G7 meeting. So he's strengthening his ties with the Brics, joining the Belt Road with all the other OPEC countries, joining the Brics New Development Bank, joining the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, no longer selling oil just for dollars and making that very well known. Joining Project Enbridge, I mean, you can see little by little by little, they are entrenching themselves with this portion of the world that, and now they're saying we don't want to go to the G7 meeting and uses an excuse for it. You can see this is real.
As the global economic landscape undergoes significant transformations driven by the strategic decisions of central banks and international alliances like Brics, what are the broader implications of these shifts for the global financial system, particularly regarding currency stability, international trade dynamics, and geopolitical influence? Share your perspective in the comment section. If the video resonates with you, join our community by subscribing to our channel and enabling notifications with the bell icon. Thank you for being a part of our community.